Felicia
From the
Michaels,
moment
my
you hear
princess,
his voice, you
has been
know
entertaining
there are
audiences
problems.
with a unique
Joey
style
Coco Diaz has
of
been rocking
provocative humor
comedy
since the
stages for
90s, all right?
15 years.
With her
You've
tongue
seen
in
him in
cheek,
films and
she's been
television,
exploring
but
such
his
topics
real
as the
patois, as
dynamics
his
of the
fathers say,
male-female
are the
relationships,
stories from
or
his
as we call them
past
here in
and
the
his
studio,
chaotic
dirty
views on
thoughts,
life that will make
and
this
the
podcast
proliferation
a different
of the
beast.
sensual
Raw
feminist.
pain and
She's a little
passion is how to
firecracker
really
rolled up, and that's
describe
why I
this
love her, and that's why you're going to love
New
listening. So
Jersey
tune in, all right?
Animal.
I hate taxes. Taxes are terrible. I mean, I pay them and I never cheat because, you know, I would get caught. And I'm a terrible liar. Actually, I'm a very good liar. I can be the best fucking liar. You know what? Because I save up my lies. I don't sprinkle them out to where people get a little bit suspicious. I save it up. And this way, when I need to fucking slap down the big old ugly one, everyone's like, oh, they completely buy it. See, that's where people never... My brother was a compulsive liar. Like, dude, save up the lie. Just say you went 100 miles over the, you know, mileage allowance on the car you rented with my American Express card. And don't monkey with the speedometer. Like, just save up the lies for something huge. Like, you know, that wasn't my gun, officer. Or that's not my Coke. Or... You know what I mean? Like, am I wrong about that?
Nah, you gotta fucking maintain your lies. If not, it's a bad situation. You shouldn't lie on your taxes anyway, because they're gonna come back and get you and ream you in the ass.
They get you.
They always get you. I never understood that, people trying to fuck with paperwork, because and especially now. You know, 20 years ago there wasn't computers. 30 years ago, now there's a paper trail for everything.
I know.
Now they just make it. Now you're in a big communistic system. You don't even know it. Everything that you fought against, you're a part of.
You leave a trail, and they can discover any kind of trail about you.
Which is great now because there's no more, you know, you use a credit card. You know, I didn't use it. I wasn't there. They know everything.
Yeah, and
they know everything.
I get all violent about it, too. Like, when you go into a store and you use a credit card, and they're like, can we get your name and number and address? Like, what do you want from me? No, black helicopters. I'm that person. Black helicopters. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck away.
I remember in '82, I just had little jobs in high school, and I got a tax return for like $300, and I got a tax return on Monday. Mm-hmm. Then I got a letter on Wednesday telling me I was going to get the tax return.
Right.
Then that Friday they sent me another check, and for years, like I fucking couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like I was like, they're gonna know.
They sent you an accidental second check.
An accidental.
There are no more accidental second checks. There are none.
The good old fucking days, you know, the good old days. I remember I bought a car one time that I talked about on the show, and I financed it. I forget the name of the bank. And one day we were in the city in a snowstorm, and the electrical system sizzled. And I just walked away from the car. I never, ever, it's not on my credit bureau.
Oh, really?
I've looked. In the old days, you could do shit and get away with it. Now you can't do shit. Yeah. I remember there was that same bank where I took the loan from. I had opened up an account there right after high school. I don't even know why. I was working a union job or something. I had a couple different gigs. And I had this money saved up in there. And all of a sudden, when I went in there one day, they said, you know, you don't have to come into the bank anymore to get withdrawals. You get an ATM card. And I'll never forget that ATM card was defective, the ATM machine. So you'd go in there, ask for $20, and $200 would come out. This went on for months.
Right.
And then at this time, the reason I used to go out in Jersey, and then at the end of the night, I'd go out in the city to Chinatown to eat and get pot or whatever. And I would always stop at this bank. And I swear to God, for like a year, every time I went in there, the computer spit extra money out of me. And one day I got a letter in the mail, and they took the money out of my account. They took like the $2,000 out of my account because they caught on. So and the old days were great. I had a friend that used to, let's say he would open up, let's say the big bank around here is Bank of America, okay? So what he would do is he would go, this is when paperwork was still around. There was no real computers in the systems. Let's say this, he would go to he would figure out the Sherman, I'm just using an example, he'd figure out the Sherman Oaks Bank of America, then he'd figure the one off of Laurel Canyon, and he'd put like $2,000 in the bank, and he'd leave it in there for 6 months. And he'd do this at a couple different banks because he would try to set up, what you also do is set up counterfeit names.
Right.
So in those days, he would go to a funeral, take a card, and then go to the bank, open up $2,000 because you didn't need a Social Security card or anything. So he'd open up a name, Felicia Michaels, in an account. He'd put $2,500 in it, leave it in there for 6 months, and then he would take a $1,500 loan out against that $2,500 under the name of Felicia Michaels. Well, guess what? 2 weeks later, he's got 20 applications for credit cards in the mail. for Felicia Michaels. He would do that year round.
Right.
He started with $500 and he would just redo it, and build identities.
Right.
But one of the things he also did towards the end was he would put $5,000 in Bank of America and leave it in there for 6 months, 9 months. And then one Friday, the bank closes at 3, at 2:35, he would go into Bank of America in Sherman Way and take his $5,000 out. And he'd shoot down a Laurel Canyon. And he'd take the same $5,000 out again. This is how good he was. He had it down before the paperwork could move.
Right.
That's how slow it was. Even in the 80s, a lot of people don't notice, in the 80s, if your credit card was stolen in the East Coast, they put an alert out for it in the East Coast. But even with computers in the 80s, it used to take 4 or 5 days for the full alert to go throughout the whole country. So people would steal your credit card in Jersey and just mail it to fucking L.A. and the next day pay $50, whatever it was 20 years ago, and use your card for 4 days until the warning caught up all the way to. So it's amazing how fast now, if you pressing the wrong fucking number on your ATM card, it's hell. You gotta go home and change it and call the bank. But it's good in a way because nobody can fuck with your stuff.
Fucking technology. Technology ruins all.
Hey, technology probably has his shortcomings that I don't know about because I don't even know how to fucking check an email. You know what I'm saying? But if I did, I'd figure out a way how to get on there. I love the way you turn that mic around.
I know, I had to because I could see
your
you
little
were
hands holding
picking,
that big fucking microphone
this
of a
big black
thing.
It's like I'm Kim Kardashian with this microphone.
That's right. Look
That's
at
my
you.
second time I've referenced Kim Kardashian because I think I'm secretly in love with Kim Kardashian.
I can't believe it that you really.
I know. Like when I see Kim Kardashian, I'm all like, Yeah.
I like the older one, the little one. That's
I like the big one.
The chubby one?
The chubby one, yeah. That would be my order if I had to have sex with them. It would be Kim, the chubby one, and then Scott.
Courtney?
Then Scott, then Courtney.
Courtney's the cute one.
No, it'd be Courtney. No, it would be Kim, the big one, Rob, the brother, Courtney, Scott, the matron Kardashian, and then Bruce Jenner.
No,
last.
they're all a bunch of filthy
Bruce
animals.
Jenner last.
I
Sorry,
want the one with
even
the
after
baby.
he got the haircut. Sorry,
I want the one with the baby. That's a whiner. That little one that's a whiner. I love that little whiner.
You like that, huh? It's so funny because I can't imagine you with someone like that.
No, she wouldn't be like that after a month.
She would just have to be a weekend treat for you.
Yeah, it's just a weekend treat. She's too much of a fucking whiner.
Yeah.
You put in her ass by mistake, she'll cry for fucking a week. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you come on a titty or on her favorite blanket or something, you gotta hear that shit. So I don't need that in my life.
I hear you.
I fucking don't hear that stuff. We're back.
Yes.
Be in the Beast podcast. Greetings to all you animals out there in Podcastville. Be in the Beast, Felicia Michaels.
Joey Diaz.
What's happening, you sexy animal?
Dude, I have man trouble. I have activity partner trouble, and I know you hate talking about it, but fuck,
I don't
get you,
about
men. I don't get it.
I don't hate you talking about it. Here's the thing, that you have to figure out what works for you in life and do it. You're not a 20-year-old girl no more. You've been to the rodeo once before, and you know what you need and what you don't need from men. And you get involved and play these fucking games.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what you want. You want it. You don't want them around. You want them to answer the fucking phone. You don't. You got to make up your goddamn mind and go for it.
Well, my question, see, that's a typical man's way of looking at it.
No, it's not a typical man way of looking.
Yes, it is, because I look at it as, dude, just do activities on me, get a little emotionally sloppy, but stop fearing the marriage we're gonna move in line, because I just want to be able to talk to you when I have something shaking that I need some advice on.
He don't need
without
that shit.
you worrying if I'm going to
guys don't need that shit
into
in their
marriage, because I
Guys don't
know
need
that
shit.
there's a parcel of children that need to get the fuck out the door, but they're so cute.
You know,
and
you're
I like kissing their little faces.
You're a pretty little woman, and he's a good-looking guy, and you're both at a different age. You know, you're not teeny boppers no more. And the sad thing is that you have activities, and those activities include you and your personal life. And sometimes you can mix them, and sometimes you can't. And I don't think you're prepared to take it to the next level, and neither is he. Just because you have too many things going on in your life, why can't you accept that? That's tremendous. That there's 3 days that the guy don't answer the fucking phone. You know what? You want to talk to somebody? Pet your fucking dog. I don't know what to tell you. You know
I know, but the dog doesn't get the nuances of,
No guys don't get the nuances either.
The fucking comedy business, you know what I mean?
It's just
like, I need to talk to with someone.
It's a weird thing. That's what you have your girlfriends for. And I understand where you're coming from.
But they don't understand it either.
You're a beautiful woman.
They don't understand. You know, like, look, you're right. When you and by the way, you say it very sweetly that I've been to the rodeo once before. When the fact is, I've been to the rodeo 3 times. I'm like a fucking Robert Duvall character stuffed inside a aging blonde woman's body. I mean, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about relationships. I'm all like, you know, like the grizzled veteran, even though the package is still mighty sweet. But in my heart, I am. But on the other hand, I'm so far into the grizzled character that I understand. Look, let's keep the.
Your pussy's like Charles
going.
Bronson.
My pussy is not like Charles.
Your pussy's like Charles Bronson. Like
no.
Pussy?
Do you mean that?
Your pussy's
a
loner.
Sex,
your pussy's a loner that's confused every once in a while. But you got to get it together.
Yeah. My pussy is for the underdog. My pussy is for the underdog.
You need to know where your pussy, what it works and what doesn't work, and you have to work it from there.
What do you mean? What works and what doesn't?
You know what works and what doesn't work.
Yes, and I'm
when you
saying
get into
what works
when you go on the block, if you see it's not going to work for you, it's never going to work. So I want you to stop looking at it that way sometimes. You know this fucking guy's busy, and you know that when he's in his head, he's in his fucking head like most guys are. Listen, when I'm in my head and my wife comes into the room to tell me about some lady at work who pulled over and adopted a dog off the side of the road, I want to stick a knife in my fucking eyeball and then stab her in the neck. Because I got something on my mind. I got something on my fucking mind.
That is the trade-off for a fantastic piece of ass, Joey. That is the trade-off. Why can't you men fucking deal with that? There's a reason that we are like this. Evolution has come to the point where we need to talk and chat about ourselves because we, you know, perhaps need to trap.
We'll chat when there's a fucking time.
Well,
there's a time and a place for everything. We don't need to chat all goddamn day.
I know, but yeah.
I don't want to chat with people all goddamn
day either. But every once in a while, you know, Robert Duvall wants to fancy up to the fence and discuss the mayor.
Listen, I understand,
you know what I mean?
But you know his hours of operation, and you have to respect those hours.
Christ.
And you have to work your life around them. And he'll respect yours.
And I do
he'll
work
definitely
my
respect
life
yours.
around it. But fuck, man, every once in a while, throw a sister a bone, and I'm not talking that kind of bone.
My heart goes out to you, Felicia, because I know you're a good catch.
Yeah.
I know that where your heart is and stuff like that. Something good will happen for you. Maybe this wasn't the guy. I hope it's not, because you seem like a nice guy and you were very happy and you were enjoying life. And sometimes let him go away for a couple of days. Let's see how you act.
Is that what you're supposed to do? That's what I want to know because Christ, how many men listen to this? What is a girl supposed to do when she wants to say to a guy, chill on the marriage talk. I'm not talking about that, but I just need you to be a little bit more accessible. That's what I want. And keep fucking me and keep saying how you like my dress. And you know what I mean? I'm not talking about trivial shit. I got stuff going on that I would like to share with the person whose cock I suck. Delicious like.
If you have any ideas for Felicia, email her at beautyandthebeastpodcast@gmail.com. Any ideas you might have of men or what she's looking for, because I may be wrong, but Felicia, you know, you've been to a couple rodeos. And it's time.
Now you're saying a couple. Only I get to say a couple.
It's time.
It's like the N-word. Only I get to say it.
A couple of weeks ago, we discussed Celebrity Rehab. And you don't watch it. And it's really weird that I've been watching on and off just to see the tactics, just to see what works. And you sit there and you make your judgment. And my judgment a couple of weeks ago was that, you know, what people don't know at home is that they pay $90,000 to these fucking momos. And they go in there and they stay sober for 18 days and they get out of there. You know, and I've always felt that 18 days ain't enough and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But this year there was a special case on there.
Let me just interrupt you. Quite frankly, you were rather vigorous in your argument of fuck all of that. That's just complete bullshit.
You know, and sometimes you go into something in your life and something else comes out of it. You may hate going into some doctor's office, but you go in there and you meet the girl of your dreams. So while you think you were going to go in there and hate, you ended up something completely different emerged from it. And I've been watching this Rachel Yucatan on, and I didn't watch all the episodes.
And she's the beautiful girl that got stuck with the whole Tiger
Woods and all that
debacle. Shit. You know, she could throw it.
And I didn't really know. She's been with some other guys. I don't know her resume. I don't know anything about that type of lifestyle, celebrity shit. So when I see it, I know.
She's been to the rodeo quite a few times.
My wife just said that that's the girl that was a Tiger Woods, and she really wasn't in there for an addiction to anything. You know, she eats pills from time to time, but her main thing is, and you could see something wasn't just right. You had the chick that was addicted to pills on there. You had Eric Roberts, who was on weed. You had the other kid that's been addicted on everything since I can remember, the young kid that hangs out at Pink's, whatever, out there. When you go at the Comedy Store, you see him there. But this chick just had something that was different. And when she went in there, the first couple episodes, I caught one of the episodes where her agent was calling her and telling her to leave, that it wouldn't look good. So I read it wrong. I read it that she went in there for publicity. The change in the public eye, which you're not going to from a few episodes on a TV show. And just like her, she probably went in there for that also. And they were trying to pull the publicity thing. We're trying to get you a deal at NBC or whatever.
Look, it's a five-folded situation when you go on a reality show like that.
So when she goes on there, she seems to discover that part of her problem was in 2000, whatever, 9/11, her boyfriend, her fiance, died in the crash.
Right.
And it was, at first you start thinking about it, and you're like, here we go, another crutch and excuse. And and during the episode, she started talking about what had happened since then. And then I remembered all the things I tell you. The wig and the fucking the Martin the Fag when I robbed the guy, and many of the other robberies I did. And some of them were for drugs, but some of them were like a lash out. Some of them were like a lash out at society, like, fuck you. You took my mom, fuck you. I'm going to become this now. You have to deal with me. I didn't even know why half the things I was doing it. And I sit here now and tell the stories in the podcast and tell you the stories and, oh, it's okay, redemption, whatever, but I still did them. And not to put a crutch on or nothing, I was a confused kid and I was lost. Well, how the fuck do you think that girl felt? She's this little Jew girl from Long Island or wherever the fuck she is. And she finally her father died when she was 16 of a cocaine overdose. She's lost right there. My father didn't love me. He had to die from fucking cocaine, where he became a reclusive. She was telling the story. Then she meets this guy, and now this is the man in her life. And he got engaged to her at Central Park, and it was really romantic. And all of a sudden one day, they probably fucked, and he said, I'll see you at dinner time, and he died. He goes to work, and he fucking dies. That's why you always got to be nice to people, because you never know if that's the last time you're going to see him. And he dies, and they take a picture of her at the World Trade Center, walking around with a picture of him crying. It's really emotional. And you look at this, and at the end of this period for all of them, half of them went to rehabs or whatever, but Dr. Drew felt with this broad that what she really needed was just to go put closure on it. So she took her back to the World Trade Center. And
he took her back. He
took her back to the World Trade Center, made her write a note and say it. But something happened on the way to the dance. They went to where he proposed to her, and while they're standing there, there's a little plaque from somebody else to my favorite nephew, and it was Andy, the name of her fiance. So it was like God had sent this. It was a really nice moment. But what really fucking struck home was when she started leaving. Some fucking guy went up to her and said, I seen that you were crying. Did you lose somebody here? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, I lost my wife here. Oh, it was terrible. He goes, I dropped her off at work, and we talked a little bit, and then she went to work, and 20 minutes later, she died. And all that aside, the things about racial Yucatan, that it's so weird what triggers fucked up behavior in people. And then I was really happy that she found peace. Whatever it could be, I hope she finds peace and she's not fucking no more celebrities or sucking Tiger Woods' dick or whatever. But it's really weird that sometimes you look at people and you can see them for what they are. Like you look at them and go, you know what, don't be down on that person. This happened in that person's life. And there's some people who use it to their advantage.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about those fucking momos. Yeah. But there's some people that sometimes something happens and it really strikes a chord with them and it sets them loose. It's like what I told you. It's a ship without the light tower. They can't see and the boat starts to go crazy. It's the same thing with people's lives. And I just felt for her. And at that moment, I felt bad about what I had said on here. I felt bad about that. I was quick to judge because we all do it. We all fucking judge or... so I was quick to judge, and I felt bad.
It's it's nice that you said that, and it's interesting to sit here and listen to you share your stories, and because this is also all a big reveal for your own self.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like this is, even though you're sharing these stories, and yeah, I bet you shared a lot of those stories when you're with your friends, when you're drinking and and on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you share it in the podcast, it's a big reveal. It's like therapy.
Hey
you
guys,
know?
sometimes you have to see somebody else's pain to find your own.
Right.
And look at the fucking emails we get. I just fuck around here with you and talk about coke and whatever, and we giggle. And then people, it strikes a chord with people. They go, oh my God, I'm not fucked up. I lick some lady's feet. You know what I'm saying? And Joey Diaz came on some chick's underwear. I'm not that fucked up. Because we're really not all that fucked up.
Yeah.
It's a situation that takes us there. But sometimes we can't figure out our own fucking pain. But it takes somebody else's pain to say, oh my God, I relate to that. And I feel fucking bad for ever judging them. And I feel bad for her sucking Tiger Woods' dick. Whatever it is, you know, but sometimes you learn. And I think that the other day you made a great point. You said that some kid emailed you and that you felt guilty. He's 15. What does this kid think? And all of a sudden the kid says, no, I learned something from that fucking show. And sometimes from listening to somebody, like I told you, a parent could talk to a kid and say, don't smoke dope, don't do blow, don't do this. And then some fucking stranger might come along and it's like a mayonnaise can. You sit there all day trying to twist it. And some fucking, and then one of your little skinny boys comes along and goes, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that?
Yes, exactly.
You know, I mean, what the fuck, guy? And this is what life is sometimes, and sometimes you find it through humor. When I come on the podcast, listen, when I first started coming out here, watch your stories. I don't give a fuck no more. I don't give a fuck about the numbers. I don't give a fuck about what number we are on iTunes. I don't give a fuck. I just know that when I look at those emails, somebody's getting out of this. I don't care. Listen, I don't want to sell comedy tickets on here. I don't want to do shit on here. I just want to, this podcast is for us to talk about our own shortcomings and mix them with other people, and somewhere along the way, these cocksuckers will get something out of it or they don't. They laugh at the wig story, or they laugh at, me tackling some guy, or they laugh at you going off on a cab driver, almost getting raped. But they get something out of it, and I want and that's what this show's about, really. So I just want to apologize for my comments early on about racial Yucatan.
That's such a heavy statement, and I'm sorry to be this person, but we're going to be at the Ontario Improv.
You dirty bitch.
For Valentine's Day with Felipe Esparza, and I'm so super excited about that.
Anyway. I bet you are, you little dirty bitch. What I forgot to tell you was when I went back to Tennessee, I played games. I went to the homecoming, but I also played Monopoly. And it was really weird for me because while I was setting up the things, I asked myself, when was the last time I played fucking Monopoly? And all of a sudden they're talking about this and Park Place and all this shit. And I was like, holy shit, I haven't played Monopoly since I was in prison. And when I was locked up, like on Monday nights, we played Monopoly, like Tuesdays. I don't know, some night of the week, we all used to get into Monopoly. And it was weird. My ADD would always kick in before you start buying hotels. Like just before you start buying hotels, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I can't handle it. But it was so weird. I'm sitting there. I'm like, fuck. Before prison, when did I play Monopoly? And I'm like, I think I played Monopoly maybe twice or three times when I was a kid. And it really dawned on me, Felicia, and you're going to sound, for a couple of years, I made models a couple summers or something, like for a couple summers. But then when I was like 9 or 10, I actually fucking stopped with the models and threw them all away and hid them, like I was embarrassed that I was kind of a closet nerd. And that's when I never really had that childhood. And for years, people always said, well, Michael Jackson's fucked up because he never had a childhood. I mean, bitch, I didn't have a childhood, but I have the son nerds to dress like Peter Pan and play Monopoly. It's just so weird that, like I was telling you, that my mother never went to any of my events after she stole the fucking bell from the community. I couldn't have her. She was an animal. I couldn't have my mom show up at one of my basketball games and yell and scream and kill a chick. I just couldn't fucking have it, But, it's just so weird that I didn't really have that much of a childhood growing up. I did everything on my own. Like I used to go on vacation. My mom would come to Miami and meet me, like for 2 or 3 days. But I never had like ski vacations like you did with your family, or summer vacations or nothing. My mom would give me $20 and go, "You're on your own for the week."
Your mom, if she could, was looking for the open mic stage.
Yes, she was. But it's just so weird how I never really fucking had a normal childhood. I never went to any of my proms. I never went to no homecomings. I didn't even show up for my 8th grade graduation.
Me either, dude. I didn't go to my graduation.
I didn't go to my senior prom. I didn't go to... And it's so fucking sad. Like when I was sitting at this homecoming, it was all coming back to me. Like I wish I would have done these things. Like I think I would have been closer with a lot more people if I would have done this today. I didn't do this. I didn't care about my yearbook. I didn't care about school pictures. I just didn't care. I cared about school. I was into learning and I was into getting good grades. But everything else that went with it, I really wasn't. And the reason why I say this to people is if you have a kid and he's at home and he's one of these fucking kids, push him. Force him into that shit. That's something that they have to be a part of, because today, as crazy as I am, I regret being that little fucking nerd for a couple of years. It would have made me a different person. I was part of the some food club when I was a senior in high school. The only reason why I was part of a food club is because you got a bus once a month and went into the city and we could smoke dope on the bus and buy alcohol. It was crazy. The teachers would even, they made believe like we weren't doing it. We'd be in the back mixing vodka and lemonades and vodka and Gatorade, and they'd make believe like nothing was really going on, you know? And it's just so weird how I fucking missed all that, Felicia. And at the time, it seemed so, you know.
But here's the thing. You didn't have those kind of activities are supported in a person's household by an adult. By let's go rent you a tux, let's get you this, you know, like that's the part of parenting.
Well, my parents were dead by the time
No,
that
that's
came
what
up.
I'm saying, but that's the part, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the part of parenting that you missed out on, you know.
But even before that, when I was 12, I wouldn't invite my mom. I wouldn't even tell my mom when I had a basketball game. I would do karate from the ages of 10 to 13. I did 2, maybe at least 1 karate competition every month. I'd come home with a medal or a trophy or a fucking diploma or something. I would never say nothing to her.
But, you know, And
how fucked up is that?
That is fucked up, and you have a right to be absolutely angry or sad that you didn't get to have that in your life, or that, you know, or just to carry around the knowledge that could have made a difference in your life.
Would have been a big difference in my life.
But, you know, but what can you do? I mean, what could your mother do, honestly? Your mother probably did better than her mother did for her. I mean, it's all a small, gradual process. And, you know, you know, can you imagine being a woman and a strong woman in Cuba, and then coming to a foreign country, and you're just street smart, but you're fucking smart, but the only thing you know is this street, or how to get around, or how to, you know, hustle, and maybe I'm not excusing it, but you have to believe that
it wasn't her fault at all. I'm telling you, it wasn't her fault at all.
She bears responsibility for it, but like to be a strong woman at that time, it must have. You know, no wonder fucking Frances Farmer went nutty. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was a famous actress that went nutty, and it's like, she did what she had to do, and she must have passed something on correctly because of the fact that you were lucky enough to survive all that and to reassess at an age where you can
she
make
did a great job.
You know?
She taught me about the world condensed in 13 fucking years, 14 years. I'm not talking about that. She did a great job there. It was my lack of involvement, because she had nothing to do with it those early. I could have invited her to Kung Fu. I could have invited all that. And it reflects in who I am today. I don't like my wife to come watch me do comedy. You know, I don't even ask people to come. People say to me, whoa, why don't you put your schedule up on the show? I've just never been one of those guys.
No,
Trust what I'm telling you. The blame is
not
not on my mom at all. My mom could have told me 1,000 things, and I would have still been the person I am today. It's just sad that I thought that way. It's just very sad that I actually really, and it didn't dawn on me till the other fucking night while I'm sitting there watching this basketball game, watching them for homecoming, and seeing my niece, how pretty she looked and how happy she looked. That we were all there. Like, her family flew in from California, her uncle drove in from Paducah, Indiana, the sister-in-law. I mean, it was just something that was kind of nice. And I'm not mad at my parents at all. Fuck that shit. They were out making a fucking living, dog. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, let's see it for what it is. This was a Saturday night. It's easy for your parents to show up to a basketball game on a Saturday night. I'm talking about real workers in those days, real fucking parents, and it's just weird that I didn't involve them more.
And I think what you're saying is, you know, that you've come to a point where it's you understand that it makes you sad that you missed out on that.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, if you have children or you're thinking of having children, you know what? No matter what your fuck is going on in your life, make that time. Make that time, because it builds a different bond. It builds a different bond. And they understand you're working. They fucking understand. But even if it's just for one game a season, it would make a difference in everybody's life.
Absolutely. And by the way, I warmly say that I have custody of my children 73% of the time. But look, you can't make every game, and sometimes, you know, it's hard to get up on a Saturday and when you want to go out and have some drinks and go, and rub elbows with other parents. You know, like I'm not necessarily built that way. And I can understand, like, that's a, you know, I love being there for my kids, but that's hard for me because I'm just built differently.
But even if I was a
but
parent now and I
yeah,
had to go to a kid, I would go to that kid's game. But at the same time, Felicia, if my kid didn't want me there, I wouldn't go either. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
oh
kids
yes,
don't.
you would. Yes,
I don't
you
know.
really?
Sometimes kids
Yeah.
feel nervous. Sometimes I just don't like tagging people with me, so it just bothers me. I gotta sit you down, go get you a soda.
Oh no, that's the thing. I when someone comes to see me do comedy for the first time, it's nerve wracking. You know, like fuck, I gotta babysit you, and think about, you know, which 7 pussy jokes I'm gonna pull for the 106 that I've written during my lifetime.
Let's go to a word to our sponsors. SkinIndustries.com, a leader in athletic apparel. Go to SkinIndustries.com and check out their new webpage and see what they got on there for you. Hoodies, T-shirts, bike designs, shit like that. We love them to death. They're coming out with the Beauty and the Beast shirt. We'll keep you posted on that. And also, AdamandEve.com.
For all your pleasurable needs, as far as condoms, nipple clamps, knee pads, that square triangular pillow that you can place a chick on and it vibrates at the same time, which, by the way, I do want to try, but it's kind of conspicuous, and where do I hide it in my small house from children? Anything like that, go to adamandeve.com, and if you go down to the promotional box and you put in the word Felicia, Felicia, not a PH, that sounds weird, but go do that so that we get a little credit for that, and so that they know that we have listeners. We would appreciate it. You get free shipping, you get a nice lotiony thingamajigger that hopefully doesn't smell like sour candied apples. Sometimes they make those lotions that smell weird, like, you know, like, look, I
got an aftertaste.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't mind pussy with an aftertaste, but lotion with an
I don't
aftertaste
want
on
sour
pussy, I
apple
don't
cock,
want that
you know
shit.
what I mean? I'll do some musty pumpkin balls, but I will not do sour apple cock.
It's funny, sometimes you date somebody or sometimes you have a friend and you get so caught up in their world.
Oh, yeah.
And then once you and that person have like a fight, you figure out that you're being more productive because you were caught up in their world with their bullshit. And I understand people who are sick at home and you're helping them or whatever, but then there's just people that emotionally drain you. That's what we're talking about, how, you know, people always calling you looking for something for free. And your time.
Yeah.
And you have
Or
to respect
favors.
your time. And,
or
you know,
people asking for favors that, like, you're like, what?
And it's so weird, like, people call you up and they ask you for, and I don't care. I've asked for thousands of fucking favors, and I've been in positions also, but it's the style and how they ask you. That's what kills me sometimes about people. It's not like, hey, Felicia, I'm in a rut. Can I get a ride to Burbank or something like that? That's one thing. But it's when people expect things from you now, you know, and they want you to move around your day. I have a great friend, George, that I talk about, and George has the same, well, George has a unique quality because he's one of the sweetest men I've ever met, but he can't say no. And because he can't say no, he takes away from his day.
Right.
And it eats me alive because I don't mind you taking away from your day, but it's got to be for something good. I can't expect to take Felicia from her day when you have 2 boys.
Right.
You follow me? And George is that type of guy that a friend of his called him to give him a ride to the Bronx to bring back a chicken. Sure, I'll give you a ride. That's an hour and a half, guy. And then when people get mad at you, you say to yourself, well, what did I do? I was just helping somebody out. No. You got to take care of your camp first. And then you could reach out and help whoever the fuck else wants to do on their time or whatever. I don't know if that's how you feel sometimes with people.
Well, I don't mind if people ask for favors. Absolutely, I don't. My friends, even people in business I don't really know that well, but I don't want to be asked for a favor from people that can't follow through. You know what I mean? Like, don't waste my time if I make a phone call for you and then you fucking just let it sputter out because you don't got your shit together. You know what I mean? Like, and I know I get a little bit, I drive you a little crazy. Like, I always post the podcast as late as possible on Tuesdays because I, quite frankly, am really fucking busy and your voice is very loud. And even with headphones on my computer when I'm editing, if my children are in the next room, they're like, I heard Joey say cocksucker. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hard for me to listen and kind of edit the podcast together when my kids are in my house. And
people are used to Tuesday nights. People are used to Tuesday nights.
3% of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that I get a little passive aggressive with doing it, but I do it. But I don't like to be asked a favor by someone then who doesn't follow through on their shit.
Absolutely.
You
No,
know what I mean?
it kills me too. That kills me too.
And I'm not even a type A or organized person. I'm a little sloppy on that side, you know. And
People call you and they're like, "Hey, I need for you to get me into this club," and you make like 3 calls, and then the week of the club, well, I can't go that weekend because I have a wedding. That's not part of it.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of when you called me. You know, that's not. You know, I'm going through a thing right now with a great friend of mine. Called me as a friend. He goes, "Hey, I need to ask you your advice on something." He goes, "My wife's girlfriend is fucking getting married, but she's getting married at the Virgin Islands. What do I do?" And I said, "You put 200 in an envelope and tell her go fuck herself." And he's like, "Well, what about my wife?" I go, "Fuck your wife. They want $5,000 for the trip to Virgin Islands. These people got to stop this shit. Who the fuck are you to get married? You want to get married at the Virgin Islands? That's great, but you better get my plane ticket if you want me to go."
But you know, here I'm gonna say in defense of that.
Nah, fuck that shit.
No, listen for
fuck
a minute.
that
but
shit.
I have a different point of view.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck my different point of view. But here it is. I got married in Hawaii, in Kauai, and we invited 100 people. But here's the real deal: we invited 100 people because we only wanted people who just really wanted to go to Hawaii and really want to be there.
I understand.
If you can't afford to do it, then that was kind of a good way to like see you later.
See you later. I know,
send
I
us
understand.
the $200 check.
Sure,
You know
sure,
what I
sure.
mean?
No,
so
but
it's okay if you can't go.
I never. But you don't understand. This is a different level. I don't know when you married Dave how financially off you were.
No, we weren't. We weren't.
It kills me when people go out and build this fucking huge wedding to show people how much they love each other. Then 3 years later, they're divorced. Nothing pisses me off because I see it coming.
That's annoying,
It don't take no fucking genius, as positive as you are, to waste my fucking time. And there's people and there's women who take this wedding thing a little bit too fucking serious, a little bit too fucking serious. You know, I got an invite, and I'll never forget this. I got an invite from a girl to a wedding, New Year's Day in Cancun, Mexico. I actually picked up the phone.
Oh,
like
really?
I looked at I picked up the phone. I had to, as a fucking man, as a person, a human being. Like, what gives you the right to do this? Just let me know. I just want to know what gives you the right on the most brokest day of the year that you are, New Year's Day. What gives you the right for us to go down there? Why did you decide this?
Right.
Well, it was my dream. Well, you know what? It's my dream to fucking go to the moon, but that's not where I got fucking married. You take a VFW in Hollywood or in North Hollywood or in Sherman Oaks and you do it. And then whatever the fuck you want to do on your fucking time, you do. But you can't put that on people like, whoa, 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 whoa. So you want me to fly to fucking Virgin Islands and get you a gift? And no, dog, you got to pick your fucking battles, my friend. I love my friends. I was telling him an example about 20 years ago. I got a call from a friend of mine. He met this white girl. You know, he's from North Bergen. He's crazy. And they're not together anymore. But it was like, he met a white girl like that. You know, it was, my God, with the magazines. And I remember going over there one time, and she had 20 of those wedding magazines.
Oh no, yeah.
So it was
it's a trap no. It's accidental.
And this kid and me used to do some crazy shit, and all of a sudden now he's like, you know, yeah, we're gonna get. And I'm looking at this guy, and it was like Thursday night in Boston, because there's 2 families, whatever. So they were gonna do a Thursday night rehearsal dinner, a Friday night rehearsal dinner in Boston, and then the whole family was going to like Martha's Vineyard to do the wedding on the beach. And he came to me, he's like, yeah, man. And I told him right now, I go, listen, bro, here's the deal. You either get an envelope or I go, and I'm not doing those wedding things. I'll go to the wedding on the beach. And then I looked him straight in the face and I go, and number 2, are you inviting my gorilla buddies to this? Yeah. One other thing, they can't bring cocaine. I said, you better stop it right there. You better stop it right there, because this is what this party is. No, he'll listen to me. My wife doesn't like that shit. Let me tell you what happened. They went to the thing on Thursday. Yeah. These motherfuckers did all the coke and stayed up all night Thursday, embarrassed the hell out of them. I told them not to invite them. I told them don't even do it. I go, dog, don't even waste your time with that shit. Sit this bitch down and tell her you're from North Bergen. Look her in the face and go, listen, dog, I'm from North Bergen. I ain't going to Boston. I don't want to get married on the beach. Well, let me tell you what happened. Like the 40 people that came from his part of the family all went out Thursday night after the whatever, did the coke, did so much coke they had to send back to New York to get 3 more ounces. At the Friday night rehearsal dinner, nobody touched their food. Okay? The dishes were coming. They were pushing the dishes away. Some of my friends, who I told them what happened, took the coke and actually put it on the dish at the rehearsal dinner and snorted the coke off the dish. To my instructions, I told them this was going to happen because they did it at their prom. And they did it at their own weddings. Why aren't they going to do that at your wedding? And he's like, no, her father's a congressman. Dog, they wiped their ass with that shit, my friends. I'm giving you a fair warning. So now they stayed up. They didn't eat Friday night. Then, guess what?
What?
They got so fucked up on Friday, nobody went to the beach. And I told them again, I said, what time is the wedding on the beach? 5 o'clock. Ixnay, bitch. You better do that at 11 because they ain't going to make it all fucking day.
Right.
This is 1988. I know my friends.
Right.
Listen, I didn't go to the wedding. I put 500 envelope, but the beauty of it was he called me back 3 days later. Oh, and they made it late. They didn't make the honeymoon because they got the limo driver fucked up.
Oh, right.
So those guys
Yeah.
finally made the wedding party after the wedding, and then they got the limo driver, gave him a bunch of blow, and he didn't show up, so they missed their flight to their honeymoon by a day.
Oh, my God.
And he called me like a week later. He's like, bro, you calling on the head? I said, they lasted 3 years because she seen him for what he was after that. I told him, I said, you're wasting your fucking time. You gotta know the animals you're dealing with. Stupid.
When I stopped doing comedy for my 8 years in the wilderness, I was doing a lot of photography, and I worked for a big photographer and hauled all the gear around in my little girl arms, and all the guys laughed at me and made me do it because I was lowest person on the totem pole and all that kind of stuff. But I also went through this phase because I really wanted to get quick with my camera. Stop yawning, please. I really wanted to get quick with my camera, where I shot a lot of weddings. And so I shot like 100 weddings, and so I see through a wedding like
this,
that.
like that. You see through
Please,
it.
by the love of God, only have one person from each side give a toast. That's all you need.
That's it. It's bullshit.
Please, by the love of God, if your groom is late, call it off. It's indicative of what's going to come.
You got to think about your people. You're going to have a Saturday, a July wedding, and you're going to have an hour and a half church thing. Come on, guy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You just met her at a fucking bar and she sucked your dick in the car, and you want to have a church thing with her for an hour. Come on, guy. Quick. It's fast. No fucking drama sales. What's
Just
all
because
this?
a girl sucks a cock in the car doesn't mean she can't have a church wedding.
But what's the fucking big deal? Just get fucking
What
married.
about if she sucked the cock for 2 hours? Then she should at least have a 2-hour sermon.
Well, then she gets a recital dinner too on Friday. Right? I'm saying, I take care of these bitches, right?
But by the way, when I got divorced, I was when I was going through my whole shit, I was still photographing weddings on the weekends because you can make some money. And I got to this one point where I got pretty evil about men. You know, that whole I hate men, fuck men. You know, when you get to that point, which I'm over with, by the way. And I remember during the wedding, I was photographing the wedding, and I literally was all like, yeah, this will work. And I thought to myself, now I need to stop.
It's just so, and you don't want to be negative or something like that. And I'm sorry we went off on this tangent about it. I just think that, you know, I remember I got married, and I had to invite my friends and shit, and I was out of the halfway house, and like they let me out of the halfway house to get married. That's fucking crazy, you know. Like I had to get like a judge to sign me out.
That's how you want to get married.
And
by
it
the
was
way.
when I got married, it was a fucking nightmare because she told me in like June. When I got out of prison in February, I fucked her in the weeds and I got her pregnant. So she got, I don't even think it was February. Like, I know I was clean. That's why she got pregnant. That's the only person I ever got pregnant that time right there. And she got pregnant, so I had to work and sell coke just to get the money up to get married. And I was just doing all this shit. And I had my buddies that I grew up with come out for the wedding. You know, like my closest buddies come out, and that was classic. They made the wedding. You know?
Really?
Again, one guy came, and he was so coked up from the night before. He had the rings around his nose. The priest wouldn't even let him be the best man.
Oh,
he just sat him down and let him talk from the side. Like, you know, off camera. They let him talk off camera. And then we had the thing at this place in Boulder, but my wife fucked up. We got married the weekend of Nebraska Boulder, which you never do.
Right.
You don't get married the day University of Colorado plays Nebraska, not in Boulder. So here we're having this thing at the hotel, and everybody's dressed in red, and they're jumping up and down. So finally, you know, my friends, they're degenerate gamblers. They go up to the people, and they go, where's the TV? And they go, there's no TV at a wedding. And my friends went, rented a room, sent somebody to Kmart, got an extension cord, and took the TV out of the room and brought it downstairs to the wedding table and plugged it in. Till this day, my ex-wife always brings that up.
By the way, I think that's genius.
I think it's genius. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. They didn't give a fuck. They went upstairs, rented a room, took the TV out of the room, and put it on their table at the wedding. And we yelled, and I loved it. I you know, that's what you get for fucking getting married.
Did you bet on that game?
No, I didn't bet on the game, but it was just, you know, it was supposed to be like one of the best days of my life, and it was horrid. Because I was dying to get high, and I couldn't get high, and I was surrounded by all these people who thought I was rehabilitated. And then they're like, oh, you're rehabilitated. I'm not rehabilitated, bitch. I'm like fucking Richard Gere and Officer and Gentleman. I just polished off my corners a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget that on my fucking honeymoon on the plane, we were the only ones on the plane. So we fooled around the plane. She had like garters on. And then she was tired. She was pregnant.
Yeah.
So, and I'll never forget this. And I've never even told nobody this. We went back to the hotel room. I waited till that bitch was pregnant. I said, fuck it. I got in my rental car and went out because I had lived in San Francisco in '85, and I became friends with all these Cubans.
Oh, so you're on your honeymoon in San Francisco?
Yeah, San Francisco in '89. So I had been in San Francisco in '85. I was bartending over at this place that I forget what it was on Haight-Ashbury, but I was living in the Tenderloin, and I was a bad boy up there, dog. I was a bad boy up there. That was the
equal
point.
Opportunity city-wise.
Oh, that was the point of my fucking destruction in San Francisco. So I went up there, and that night I went out and I looked up one of the guys that was one of my Cuban refugee buddies, and they gave me like an 8-ball for 1 1/4, and I did the whole 8-ball. And I walked in the door as she was waking up. And she's like, where were you? And I'm like, I went down to get some juice for you. And she's like, you're so nice. I'm like, I got to take a nap. But the only reason why I went to San Francisco was to play to watch I set it up perfect. I went up there and for my honeymoon, I caught the A's against the Yankees on Sunday. And then Monday Night Football was the Giants against the San Francisco 49ers. That's the only reason why I went up there for my honeymoon. I talked her into it. Horrible. The second wedding, which was really nothing. It was 2 people in a banquet.
By the way, because I photographed your second wedding as a gift to you.
It had more heart to it, than a wedding with pigeons and limos and all that bullshit.
Simple.
And that's what I don't like, because in my heart, this is the funny thing, and I could say this now years later, in my heart, I loved Terry at the time of our wedding 80,000 times more than I loved Kathy when I married that fucking wench of a woman. But the funny thing is that our wedding, the Kathy wedding, was extravagant with white people and birds and, you know, a Rolls Royce that was white and pigeons let out of the church.
Really, pigeons?
Well, whatever the fuck, all that.
Pigeons were like,
what it was is all that bullshit people do at weddings that
Yeah.
you look at, and it's not even what the real wedding is about.
Oh, absolutely.
When I married Terry, it was what a wedding was about. I really loved her, and I really wanted to be there with her, and I that was all I was thinking about was that day. You know, when I got married, it was a fucking bump in the road for me. It was like, what? I got to work on, because I used to sell cars then too. I got to work on, I love selling cars on Saturday. I couldn't sell cars because I had to go to a fucking wedding.
Your own
fucking wedding, you know. I'm one of those guys that it just didn't work out for me like that. I didn't like it. But you do learn. That's why when I get big invitations with flowers and shit coming out of it, whatever. You know, I didn't even send out invitations. I call people on the phone.
That's
true.
And
it's just, I hate when people do all this thing that, oh, I love you. Just show me you love me. That's why I told Terry before we got married, she was in that lovey-dovey mood where they kiss you, and I told her, I said, dog, don't do this shit to me. Do this shit to me 20 years from now. This is what love really is. But all this lovey-dovey shit, this ether that we go through, you know what I'm saying? Right when you get married, you get that
Girls love ether, though,
Yeah,
Joey.
no, I don't like no fucking ether. Get out of it. Ether should not be for 3 days. Ether should be spread out through a lifetime.
Right.
It was a pleasure talking to you guys. We love you. Being the Beast podcast. Stay black.
Yeah, what he said. Mwah. 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 Mwah.